The difference between helping and selling is just 2 letters, but those 2 letters make all the difference. And what we're trying to do with utility is advise companies to make marketing that is truly inherently useful. Imagine if your marketing was so useful that people would theoretically pay you for it. That's the bar that you have to clear now as a company. The goal is not to be good at social media. The goal is to be good at business because of social media, and that's not the same thing, nor does it have the same measurables. If I had to dispel one myth about social media, it would be that you cannot determine ROI. You absolutely can determine ROI. You can absolutely determine how social media is impacting your business. Is it easy to do so? Not necessarily. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Depends on what kind of business you are. But you don't have to settle for counting friends and fans. We just typically do because it's easier. Well, one of the challenges about calculating ROI for social media, and to some degree content marketing as well, is that people tend to want to try and calculate it at sort of the umbrella level, and you can't really do that because social media is really a composition of a bunch of different programs in your company. You've got a Facebook program, presumably, a Twitter program, a blogging program, an Instagram program, social media customer service, et cetera, customer insights from social. So what you have to do is calculate the ROI of each individual program and then roll it together into a unified number that tracks back to business objectives. I think the 3 big words for business next year in social media and content marketing are, number 1, strategy, right? We're past the question of should we do this. Now we're at the point of how do we do it well? How do we optimize our social media and content marketing? And the best way to do that is to actually know how these technologies and how these activities map back to business success. So the first question is strategy. The second one is resources. Now that this has become a bigger part of many companies' communication programs, what I find is companies are under-resourcing social media and content marketing. Look, this isn't inexpensive. It's just different expensive. And you have to make sure you have enough bodies and enough dollars to do this well. So the second question is resources. And the third question is about segmentation. If you're doing the same stuff in Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter and your blog, what's the point? Think about what is your unique perspective in each of those social networks and in each content play. What audience are you trying to reach in Pinterest versus what audience are you trying to reach in Instagram? What is your different editorial calendar in each of these social networks? The third big question for 2013 is going to be around segmentation and doing something unique and different in each of the places where your company has a presence. I think fundamentally B2B social media is the same as B2C social media. In fact, for many B2B companies, I think social media is actually more important than it is for B2C. And that may sound crazy, but for most B2B companies, the average value of a customer is way higher than for your average B2C company. If you're selling expensive software, the attitude of a single customer and the ability of a single customer to impact the belief system of other prospective customers is so much greater than if you're selling licorice or ice cream or potato chips or any other, a hammer or anything else. So the other thing is that sales reps have a big role to play in B2B because it's a complicated sale and there's things and questions and things like that. And increasingly what we're finding is sales representatives using social media as an unofficial touch point in the customer life cycle, which is really, really important. Look, here's the thing. B2B and B2C have competitors, they have customers, and they have a story to tell. Therefore, they should be using social media and content marketing. Yeah, my first book, The Now Revolution, 7 Shifts to Make Your Company Faster, Smarter, and More Social, came out in February 2010. The nice thing about that book is my co-author Amber Naslund and I wrote it very intentionally so that it would have a shelf life. It's scary to write a book, right, about social media, and you think, wow, this book is out and now 2 days later it's out of print and out of date and doesn't make any sense. We very carefully wrote it so that there was really nothing in there that was date specific, right? It's not talking about specific tools. So I actually just reread it the other day and it's very, very relevant today. In fact, I think in some ways the book is more relevant today because people are more ready for that message, which is really all about, you know what? Social media is more about corporate culture than it is about tools and technology. If you're not a social company, you can do all the social media stuff that you want, but you'll never be great at it. You'll just be okay at it. And it really is about your leadership and your employees and giving them the freedom to participate with your customers off script. It's about empowerment. Like you can't have a command and control structure around social media for a big, huge multinational corporation. It doesn't work that way. That hub and spoke thing breaks down. No one can be on top of that many things. So you have to enable your employees in different divisions in different parts of the world to be able to use social media to communicate with customers and prospects effectively, and you have to trust those employees to make the right decision right now. Right? You can't call a committee meeting every time somebody tweets something about you and say, what should we do about this? Because by the time you send out the meeting request, it's over. So it's all about empowerment. It's about allowing your employees to make the right decision. And what you're seeing now is a lot of big companies are investing a lot of money in ongoing training and certification of employees in social media and content marketing, saying, look, you are now an approved Dell social media participant. You're now an approved IBM blogger, that kind of thing. I have a brand new book coming out called Utility, Why Smart Companies Are Helping Not Selling. It'll be out in June with Portfolio. Working a lot on my podcast, Social Pros, which is a weekly podcast where we actually interview a social media manager or social media director from a major corporation and learn all the ins and outs about how their job actually works day to day. That's been going great. Love the podcast. Lots of travel, more blogging, lots of consulting projects all across the world helping companies figure this stuff out. It beats breaking rocks, that's for sure. You can just Google Jay Baer or go to jaybaer.com, or my company and my blog is convinceandconvert.com.
Thank you very much.
You bet, thanks.